December 2019, several cases of a viral pneumonia of unknown origin are reported in the Chinese city of Wuhan. Then in January, the first death is reported from what is now known to be a novel coronavirus, and new cases begin to pop up in nearby countries such as Thailand and Japan. In February 2020, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus is given the now infamous name COVID-19. Now, in March of 2020 is when things really started getting interesting. With case numbers on the rise globally, the World Health Organization officially declares COVID-19 a pandemic. At around the same time, pictures like this start coming out. So what you see here is 3 or 4 people in line at the store, each moments away from purchasing an entire shopping cart's worth of toilet paper. And this isn't the only example. Once things started getting serious, people everywhere began purchasing tons and tons of toilet paper, and eventually, many stores became sold out completely. Now, COVID-19 is a serious, once-in-a-generation event that has had a huge negative impact on all of our lives, and overcoming it requires cooperation. So when people act in ways that seem selfish or counterproductive, that can put all of our safety at risk. Why did people hoard toilet paper? More importantly, why can't people seem to resist going out to bars despite explicit orders to social distance? Part of the answer may lie in our evolutionary history as a species. So let's go back to that first example. Why did people hoard toilet paper? Well, in order to answer this question, let's consider what life was like for our ancestors. Privation, a lack of essential resources, was a legitimate threat to the well-being of our ancestors. Unlike today, resources were scarce in our evolutionary history and required a lot more effort to accrue than they do now. To put that in perspective, here's what grabbing a bite to eat looked like in the Paleolithic era. Since resources were so scarce, it is thought that hoarding might have evolved as an adaptation to help our ancestors compensate for this scarcity. If our ancestors had an inclination to hoard resources when they could, that might mean that they could have some much-needed leftovers for when times got tough again. In fact, this evolutionary mechanism has been proposed as an explanation for the hoarding behaviors associated with hoarding disorder that we see today. So going back to the original question, why did so many people buy so much toilet paper? Well, some people have tried to explain why so many people bought toilet paper in the first place, but once the ball gets rolling, all it takes is a few people buying too much toilet paper to create scarcity, which then causes more people to buy too much toilet paper, lest they miss out, which then creates more scarcity and news articles reinforcing this idea that toilet paper is running out, and so on and so forth. Before you know it, you'll be spending 85 pounds on Gentle Clean toilet roll with puppies. Now onto a more important question, why are people so bad at social distancing? Well, the short answer is that human beings are social creatures. Human beings are not the strongest, fastest, toughest, or even the most perceptive species. One thing that does give us an edge over other species, however, is our sociality. A human being can't take on a saber-toothed tiger, but a group of human beings just might be able to. One of the reasons why we love socializing with each other so much today is because teamwork was crucial to the survival of our ancestors. Since it benefited our ancestors to have strong cooperative relationships, loneliness is thought to have evolved as an adaptation in order to signal the weakening of one's social relationships, such that lonely individuals can go back and reinforce their relationships. In other words, loneliness, the pain of social isolation, tells a person, you're lonely, your social relationships are waning, you have to go back and socialize, in the same way that hunger tells a person, eat something, your body needs food. So why are human beings so bad at social distancing? Well, it's because we evolved to be bad at it. Human beings thrive in group settings. However, they don't do as well on their own. As such, we've evolved mechanisms that make it easy and enjoyable for us to be together and make it difficult for us to be apart. Loneliness isn't designed to be toughed out. Rather, loneliness is designed as a call to action to incentivize people to socialize. In fact, from an evolutionary perspective, if loneliness is an adaptation, then being unable to resist seeing your friends is actually a good thing. So, why did people hoard toilet paper? It's the same reason they can't resist going out. Human beings are not evolved to deal with COVID-19. The unfortunate reality is that the challenges associated with a pandemic are much different than the challenges our ancestors faced in order to survive. Dealing with a pandemic requires us to take only our fair share of supplies. However, we evolved to hoard scarce resources. Dealing with COVID-19 requires us to social distance and stay inside for extended periods of time. However, it would have benefited our ancestors to socialize and work together. So with all that said, only one question remains. Are we doomed? Are human beings simply hardwired to be no match for COVID-19? Not at all. It's important to remember that just because a behavior has evolved doesn't mean it can't be changed. Human beings have a huge amount of self-control over their evolutionary instincts and urges. It might just be a little tough. Thank you.